Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about how independent people love, or in the attachment theory, it's called the avoidant style. Okay, so today we're going to focus on that. Last week and the week before, I spoke. Last 2 weeks ago, I spoke on all the attachment styles, and then now last week I spoke about how anxious people love, and this week is about how independent people love, and maybe it's you or your partner. So let's dig in so that we learn how to connect better, how to ask for love. If your partner, for example, belittles your feelings, if he thinks that whatever you're doing is exaggerated or dramatic, you probably have a person that is independent, or called the avoidant attachment style, the avoidant kind of a person. Why is it called avoidant? Because they avoid emotions. They don't want to feel the stuff, right? So they don't want to feel their own stuff, and they don't want to feel your stuff. Okay. So if you don't know what you feel about things, let's say you go through something and a person goes, well, how do you feel about that? You go, I don't know. That could mean that you have that attachment style, right? Or you don't cry. Or you don't cry with anyone. Just cry by yourself. Nobody sees your tears. Nobody sees your vulnerability. It could mean that you are also avoidant. Okay? That one, if you don't open up with anybody, you're friendly with everybody, but you really don't tell anyone about your pain, could mean that you have this type of attachment style. Let's say if you ever heard your partner say, you're overwhelming me, this is so overwhelming, give me so much, you're so much, right? That could mean that you have this attachment style, the avoidant attachment style, right? Avoidant people, they're called like that because they run away from feelings, right? Just like in Matrix, the guy would avoid the bullets, right? He would go like this and bullets would fly by. The same way we run away from our feelings. This is my go-to whenever I have issues. That's how I was brought up. A lot of the characteristics I do have, and I'm healing from that slowly and steady. I am always trying to be more vulnerable, more real, connect with my emotions, trust it, and share it so that we can have a resolution, so we can fix things in the relationships that I have in my life. And so I want to invite you to do the same thing to yourself. Just watch the live today and learn how independent people are in avoidant attachment style, they react to things, and why. And I'm going to give you tips. I'm going to give you the 8 characteristics of the avoidant attachment style, and I'm going to give you tips on how to fix this relationship. Things that you can do that are very simple that can help you heal your relationship with your favorite avoidant person. Okay, and welcome. So there are 2 types of avoidant attachment style. So the fearful and oh my gosh, the translation here was badly done. So it's the fearful and the avoidant, right? There's another name, and now I'm gonna have to ask for your forgiveness because I can't recall it, because I am. So anyways, so welcome. Hi, Anthony. Welcome. And so here it is. I have avoidant attachment styles effect. So there's the anxious and the dismissive. That's the one. Dismissive and the dismissive, which is the one that I'm gonna talk first, and then the fearful. Okay. So the dismissive one is the one that is most common. Okay. Dismissive. They have similar characteristics, both of them, the dismissive and the fearful one, but they're different, and explain it at the end on how they are different. Okay. So let's start with the 8 most important characteristics of this attachment style. Oh, before I go on with the 8 characteristics, I want to tell you, if you do have this attachment style, your partner does, um, uh, understand that there is change, there's room for change in our minds, in our hearts, and that we can change, we can adapt, we can, our brains has a great possibility of just learning new things, right? So you can change. Okay, don't think you're gonna die like this. You can change, okay? So number one, if you were neglected emotionally as a child, then you probably have this attachment style, okay? So if you feel safer keeping your feelings bottled up inside, know that this is a character. Why this? I don't understand why my live is turning off. It's very strange to me. Okay, I am. Do you see my camera turning off? Anthony, do you see my camera turning off? Can you tell me yes or no to that? Okay, so if you feel safer keeping your feelings inside, you probably have. Hey, Anthony, can you tell me if my camera is going off, please? Because I see my camera is turning off. Can you check that? No? Okay, because it turns off for me here. I don't know why. Okay, so if you use anger, if you laugh a lot, if you laughed like if you're never really real, you're always making jokes and things like that, then you probably have this attachment style. If you use anger to communicate your emotions, you have this attachment style. Sometimes even you don't accept other people's feelings. You probably have this attachment style, okay? So the parents of these kids, they are, sorry. My goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know. All right, I got you now. Sorry. The parents of these kids that have this type of attachment style ignore their child's needs and feelings. Whenever they were vulnerable, so they communicated to the child that being vulnerable or crying, even with positive emotions, sometimes they don't accept it. They say, oh, no, don't laugh so much, don't be so loud, don't run, don't cry, and so some parents talk in that way, and so the child stops trusting their heart, their feelings, taking them to a place of mistrust with their emotions, thinking that it's a weak thing, right? They think it's a weakness to cry or to be vulnerable, to be real with your emotions. So then they stop listening to that. Makes perfect sense. So then they want to be seen as strong, and so they become very independent. So that's where the name independent, right? So number one is that they have that tendency, they were neglected as children. Number two is that they tend to suppress their emotions, just ignore it, right? They just shut up emotions. That's what they do, right? So if you were taught to not express your feelings, oh, shut up, stop crying, that's a drama, right? That's drama, that's a weakness, that's a weakness that you have, then you probably have this attachment style. If you feel, do you feel it's better to deal with emotions and these more vulnerable feelings by yourself, then you probably have this attachment style, okay? They may even look down on people and they feel a little better than other people emotionally because they're tougher, right? They don't talk about their vulnerabilities, which is also a weakness, by the way, and I will explain that further on in this live. Number 3, if you have difficulty dealing with your emotional intimacy, if you feel like emotional intimacy is something hard for you to do, tell people that you need them, tell people that you are suffering, tell people that you feel alone or insecure or not good enough, that's not doable for you, then that means that you have this attachment style. And that's a problem, because you're not connecting to this part of you. God, when God made us, He gave us a brain and the heart, right? Feelings are not from the devil, so we're supposed to feel them and allow them to flow in our bodies to tell us what's happening, right? So we have to listen to the feelings too, right? So if you have difficulty dealing, number 3, if you have difficulty dealing with emotional intimacy, it's hard for you to talk about your needs to your partner, or if you find it uncomfortable to talk and show that you are fearful or sad, you're always like trying to, I don't know, be funny or joke, or you just belittle that, oh yeah, if you don't make it, you're not vulnerable. If you're not real with your emotions to your partner, it could be that you have this attachment style. Because people that are independent, or also called avoidant attachment style, they were taught not to express their emotions, their deepest feelings. So certainly they think that to need emotionally is something like of a weakness, right? It exposes them to allow people to know that they can be, I don't know, fearful or feel alone or sad, right? Problem is that we all feel sad and we all feel lonely and we all feel those things, but this attachment style really denies that vulnerable part of themselves. So they close up. So they don't talk about it. Sometimes they don't even know what they need in love. They don't know their needs. I'm going to give you a list of needs to help you, to give you a voice on your needs in love, okay? At the end. Sometimes, because you have to understand, when they were children, their relationship with their parents, with the adults, was so superficial. Like, the parents didn't want to hear their pain. They didn't comfort them. The parents were not there for them. Not that they didn't want to. Sometimes the parents are just working. They were just busy. So they needed them. But because they were never there, then that means that they can't trust people. So they can't trust their feelings. They can't be weak, quote unquote, and cry to people and tell them what they really need. So number 4, the fourth characteristics of people with attachment that is avoidant attachment style, they have extreme limits, right? So boundaries. So in that way, avoidance, they have specific rules for relationships. They expect certain things. They threat the relationship by what they need. So for example, they want something. They say, if you don't give me this, then I will break up with you. If you don't do this, I will leave, right? So they restrict also maybe time with people. So they close up. They're like, I'm not going to talk to you. We're not going to talk for a couple of days or 2 weeks because I need time right now. You're so much, right? So they restrict and they neglect in love a lot. So they deny sharing some parts of themselves. So they don't talk about some things about their life or their suffering. They sometimes don't even know, sometimes they suppress their feelings so much that they don't even remember what they went through as a child, right? Say they have a hard time forgiving, and things, they're very black and white in their rules, right? It has to be like this, the way I say it, or else. So unforgiveness is a problem in relationships, as it's very clear. We're all human, right? So gotta change that, buddy. Right? Number 5, okay, the relationships are superficial. So usually people with the avoidant attachment style, they have superficial relationships. So they don't talk about deep things. They don't have a shoulder to cry on. They only have relationships that are about jobs and let's do this, let's go there, about business. Not really about deep stuff. I feel sad. I feel alone. I feel hurt. They don't say that kind of stuff, right? That's like crazy. Are you crazy? I'm gonna talk about my feelings. You're crazy. So they even punish themselves whenever they are vulnerable. So they go, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said I missed them. I shouldn't have said this or that. So they believe that talking about their emotional needs in the relationship is a big no-no, which is wrong. In relationships, you're supposed to say your needs, right? They don't open up. They are not vulnerable because you may find that people are not that trustworthy. You might not trust people, that you think that people will not be able to take care of your problem, or that you don't know how to do that, how to deal with me. You don't have that ability, unfortunately. Independent people think they're better. They have a one up on other people, or they may care. Geez, this camera's turning off. It's really creepy. They may cry, but they cry by themselves. They don't cry on anybody's shoulder. Okay, and they don't open up. Another belief is that you can think that you're really just that nobody really gets you, right? Nobody really understands because nobody was never there for you. Why would there be people now, right? So, and because you don't open up, nobody's there for you whenever you really need them. And then what happens is that you, at the end of this process of just not opening up, is you feel less than, or you feel not understood, you feel forgotten, or you feel inadequate, not good enough, right? So if you don't talk about your fears, that's something that you should fear, really, because it's a weakness to not talk about what you really need in a relationship. When you're afraid or sad or hurt, that is a weakness that needs to be fixed in your life. Not talking about your insecurities is an insecurity, right? If you don't ask for forgiveness, that means that's a big no-no. You need to ask for forgiveness. You can be wrong too, buddy. And I'll tell you this, God's going to make sure you are with people that'll show you this so that you can change and get better, right? So asking for forgiveness is a big deal. And if you are an avoidant attachment style, you have a hard time asking for forgiveness for your wife, for your husband. So find your fault, change that, and be humble, right? So because being humble then will always teach you to be better, right? So okay, so which brings us to number 6, is that you like to be independent. So that's a big problem, being independent. If you're extremely independent, and you like to focus more on yourself, then you probably have this attachment style. If you had to manage to survive as a child by yourself, then you probably have this attachment style, and you're probably very independent. So if you had to manage as a child just to, survive as a child, then obviously it makes sense to be independent. But it's wrong to think that you're by yourself in this world. Nobody's really there for you. It's wrong. A lot of people are there for us. We sometimes don't know how to ask, right? So being independent is not wrong. The only thing that is wrong about it is the unhealthy independence, where you don't rely on anyone but yourself. Okay? Relying on other people makes us humble, makes us accountable, makes us stronger, because they're going to see where are our blind spots. It makes us feel not better than other people, and we need that, right? Okay, children who grow up in environments where they have to be, that one I read. We all have sometimes to learn from other people. And because I have this attachment style, I make sure I'm always learning. I'm always asking for advice from people. I force myself to feel my pain, to allow my heart to feel things. I stop, I meditate, I pray, I try to connect with my true self and say, hey, I'm feeling this way, this is what I'm feeling, and I allow myself to feel things. I don't get away from the feeling, because this is our tendency. We run away from the feeling, right? Am I going to feel this stuff? It's so weak, and it's not. It's your true self, right? And we have to allow ourselves to feel, not to stay in that place, but rather to allow ourselves to heal from it faster, and also to share with other people so it heals even faster. Okay, so if you want to be wise, because in Proverbs 18 it talks a lot about wisdom, right? But in Proverbs 18, the first verse says that a lonely man goes against true wisdom, right? And also there's another verse that says that in the meeting of counsel there's wisdom. So we need to be able to be with people, not be independent. Healthy independence is good, unhealthy is not. And it's good for you to ask people around your life, do you think I'm too independent? Do you think I do that wrong? Right? So because people want you to rely on them, and also you need to grow in that area for your own self. Yes. Okay, number 7. You have a hard time trusting people. If you have a hard time trusting people, you probably have this attachment style. This comes from a place of childhood when you were not properly taken care of as a child. You could not trust your parents to be there for you appropriately. So it makes sense that you would be like this. But in this way, you don't even trust the closest people in your life. You don't trust your wife, or you don't trust your partner. You don't trust you don't trust the people that you love the most, which is a huge problem, right? They don't feel like you trust them, but not always in a way that like cheating and stuff, like not like that. Like trust them with your heart. That's what I mean, right? So I work with an avoidant person too. I'm naturally avoidant. I'm trying not to be as much as I can. Every day I'm learning. But and she's avoidant too. So the other day I complimented her, and she didn't take it in. And I was like, did you notice that she didn't take in my compliment? She's like, oh my gosh, I didn't. I realized that. Oh my God. So we're growing. We're all learning, right? We're all taking this pieces at a time, little itsy pieces of like this puzzle that we're putting together, and learning and growing. So we need affection, we need approval from people, we need physical contact, we need to tell people that we need them, that we need to feel loved and understood and cared for and valuable. So it's important that you have that in your vocabulary, to be able to say to your partner, hey man, I don't feel good enough when you say this kind of stuff, right? Being independent, lonely, or like a patient of mine calls himself an eagle. He's like an eagle in his house. So it's exactly like that. He's far away. The whole family's here. He's far away. So he flies down, participates one little bit, and then he goes away again, right? So his wife is always feeling needy. She's always like, oh, where's my husband? I need him so bad. He's never here. Emotionally, he's there every day physically, but not emotionally, right? So it comes... It leaves the person dry, right? It leaves the person feeling so neglected, so forgotten, because you close up in your little shell. You want to process your emotions, but at the same time, you don't come back because you're afraid of coming back. Because when you come back, the other partner goes, bah, 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 and then you want to run away again, right? So the biggest problem with this attachment is the characteristic of doing too much. And the way that what I mean is doing too much work, like workaholics, or they have a tendency of either being addicted to work or being addicted to drugs or being hoarders, or addicted to the gym or shopping, or just get busy, 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 busy. What they're trying to do is just get busy, work, busy, work, busy, work, so that their mind does not it does not feel what the heart is sending, the information of, hey, things are not good, be careful, you're afraid and you feel threatened and you feel like they're gonna leave you. Just don't feel this, because it's so weak, right? So they have this tendency of having compulsions, and the compulsion, it can show up in so many ways. It could also even be OCD and being a perfectionist, right? It can show up in so many ways. So because the value that they have is based on their work. They work a lot so that they are valued and they have good self-esteem. So based on work, doing. Sometimes if it's like a teenager, they can play video games a whole bunch to forget. They can do so many other things. Just be with friends, and be a leader in some way. So also another characteristic of the avoidant attachment style would be like to be very logical, right? So they use their logic to understand things, although with emotions it's unfair to use logic, because with emotions you can't really use both together every time. Sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes you can't use your logic to understand emotions. So it leaves the other person feeling like you never understood their feelings. But at the same time, you don't even understand your feelings too. Like you're so lost. Person asks you, what are you feeling about this? You go, sad, mad. No, mad. Usually you use mad. And because mad is a stronger emotion, it makes you big, right? I'm mad, right? But really, it's a vulnerability, because deep down, you're actually feeling a real feeling, like you're sad and you feel lonely or you feel afraid, right? So it's very good. It's very important that people that are in relationships with avoidant people to be kind of curious about that emotion. Hey, there's something going on right here. Let's go look at it, without like attacking, because they have a hard time opening up already. So if you attack and you're like overreactive to their feelings, it's gonna create in them like, I'm not gonna open up to this person. It's not safe to open up here. So they close up, right? So in this case, you have to be curious about their emotion. And I'll give you some steps later on. You can feel that when your partner opens up to you, if you're an avoidant person, you feel very overwhelmed because it seems like it's a lot. So you kind of run away to your little cave. But then at the same time, when you go away, you really don't deal with your emotions and that need and that sadness, right? So because you get busy, right? You usually go to Netflix and watch a whole bunch of programs, or you close yourself off. So it doesn't give you space to deal with your emotions and your needs. And so whenever you come, but you make decisions, right? You sort of deal with your emotions and then you make decisions. And then when you come back to your partner, you're like, it's going to be like this, like this, like this, like this. Like you're above them in some way, or else you're going to lose me. So you provide the threat in the relationship, which is not healthy. But also at the same time, it just leaves a person feeling so unheard, right? And what you're actually doing, you're not even listening to yourself, right? And you're not listening to your partner. You're just creating rules and regulations in a relationship where there has to be love and not, these black and white rules things and restricted, very extreme boundaries and rules and stuff. So it's not healthy. It's not healthy to do that to a relationship, right? So I have the live is just making me mad. Okay, so when you do speak about the things that you come up with without talking to other people, without being vulnerable, and because the Bible says that you're getting away from the true knowledge. There's another verse that says that people that are alone, they're very selfish. So let's not be alone. let's try to be real. Let's try to talk about our fears, right? If you don't want your partner to feel needy, tell them tell them that you're there for them. Tell them that you care. Tell them that you're always going to be there. If because the problem with this, which is a good thing though, and a good thing about this is that we avoidant attachment people, we have good self-esteem, very good self-esteem, but it's not healthy self-esteem. It's not healthy because we think we are better than other people, or we don't need other people, and these things they're very terrible characteristics. You don't want to communicate to anyone that you don't need them, really truly, because they're always going to be feeling like at any point this person could just leave me. At any point they could just go away. Thank you for the hearts, by the way. Love that. Thanks. So we this avoidant attachment style, we can be very romantic, very sweet, very, very, very romantic people, but at the same time we don't go deep into the emotions, right? So we don't talk about our biggest fears. We talk about our biggest love, because love is beautiful, but then talk about fears and needs, then it's weak, and then we don't talk about it. So it's very we don't have the whole heart. It's missing stuff. There's stuff that you can't grab onto. Like, you have some of that person, but you don't have the whole person. You have a part of their heart, you don't have the whole heart. So it's unfair. It's unfair, right? So what they say, that, or we say, because I am avoidant naturally. I'm trying not to be as much as I can every single day in my life. I'm working little by little closer to being having a healthy emotional reaction to things, and being healthy emotionally. So, for example, we think that it's impossible to talk about our emotions. For us to ask for help is a big deal. To say that we have a need is a huge deal, right? So that's lack of humbleness, right? We need to be humble. We need to understand that we do need people, and not only that in them there is a healing for our hearts in so many ways. In our partners, there's healing, there's love, there's happiness, right? So and also in God, right? So you're not afraid to say, God, I need you. But why are you afraid to tell your parents, hey, I need you right now. I'm having a sucky day. I just need you with me, right? So let's do that. Let's be able to speak our real truth. Or I feel less than. I feel rejected. I feel so small right now. I just lost in this thing in my life, and I'm so ashamed, right? So we all need a word of encouragement. We all need somebody to be there for us. But if you don't tell them, they're going to always look at you like, oh, this almighty powerful creature. And and whenever you are vulnerable, they don't even recognize it because it's so weird to them, right? So for example, in my personal life, and I try to tell my partner, for example, I say, right now I need you. I'm very sad, and I need you today. We got to talk. I'm afraid of some things. So I gotta be able to talk to you. You gotta come here. We gotta talk, or I'll go over there and we'll talk, right? So if you have an avoidant partner, or you yourself, you are an avoidant person, you're always working, you have good self-esteem, but it's not healthy self-esteem. You get overwhelmed with emotions. You close up like in a little shell. You don't trust people like that. You think you're better than people secretly. Then you need to heal this part of you. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to help yourself, okay? So promote safety, right? So the way you promote safety in a relationship is that you tell your partner that is needing you because you neglect. So then tell them, hey, listen, I'm a little overwhelmed right now. Let me process this. Give me a couple of hours so that I can think about what's going on and how can I better this. And then we'll talk when I come back. I won't, I'm not jeopardizing our relationship, nor are you. I just need some time to process this, right? So you're just asking to need a time to process, and that's fine. It's healthy, but it needs to be said. Like they need to know that you're coming back. You're not going to leave them high and dry, right? You're going to be there for them. So it's important to tell your partner this. Also, be vulnerable. Learn to listen to your heart, see what you're feeling. Find somebody that is just as curious about your emotion as you are, and we start digging in. Hey, so what am I feeling really? I think I'm alone. I think I feel like not understood. I feel I'm afraid. What am I afraid of? Oh, geez, what am I afraid of? Like, start analyzing and learning these things, right? I only have 5 minutes. So here are the list of needs, and this is because we usually don't know our own emotional needs in the relationship. So I'm going to give you a list of needs that could help you. Find a voice in your own relationship, okay? So for example, number one, you can say, I need to know that I'm important to you. I need to know that this relationship matters to you. Or I need to know that I'm good enough. I'm suitable for this. I am adequate for you. I need to know that I'm approved. I'm approved by you. I'm not rejected. I'm wanted by you, right? I need to hear things without criticism. And that's for the other partner. But like, don't say things criticizing. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're this. That's not going to help nobody in any relationship. Just say what you're feeling. Whenever this happens, I feel like this. Whenever that happens with you, I feel so alone or so left out, right? I feel like I don't have your whole heart, man. I feel like you only cry your tears by yourself. So that means you can't trust me with your fears, with your whole heart. I feel out of your life in that way. So kind of be real, right? Also, tell the person the need is that, okay, the need is this. Let me know that I can count on you. That's a big one for every relationship, by the way, for every attachment style. I need to know that you're going to be there whenever I cry, whenever I'm going to be alone or sad. I need to know that you're going to be there for me, right? Also, whenever the person that has this attachment style is truthful with their heart, honor that. Honor those feelings. Honor that person's heart and what's going on for them, right? So they need to know that they're needed in this relationship, that you are not alone, that they can count on you, but also that you, Mr. Independent, you have to tell them you need them too. It's very important. Also, another thing is that feel your pain, feel your feeling, and allow yourself to communicate this. Go to Google and write the wheel of emotions, and over there you're going to feel a lot of emotions and where they come from, so that you can communicate, hey, I feel disappointed, and I think and it comes from a place of anger, but in the anger I feel disappointed, and the reason why I feel disappointed is because you never called me about that or something, so make clear what you feel. And also that's going to help you understand other people's feelings too. It's going to make your radar of emotions bigger and more understanding of, hey, whenever she makes that face, it means she feels alone. Whenever she's speaking like that, it feels like she's not well, right? So ask questions, partner of avoidant people. Ask questions. Say, hey, you're feeling some kind of way. Are you okay? Are you okay? So be curious with them, right? Another thing, and I have 1 minute to go, is that tell them you care. Tell them that you're there for them. Tell them that you can handle their pain, but actually handle their pain. If it's too much for you, do therapy, guys. All right? If you're the avoidant person, don't give up. Don't give up on the relationship because things are not perfect. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Allow people to make mistakes with you because you are going to make mistakes with them. Be humble. Listen, right? So I mixed a little bit of the fearful and dismissive one, but the fearful one has more to do with fear because the pain comes from a fearful place. So, for example, they're highly emotional because they're fearful of being left or not feeling good enough. They have conflicting feelings about romantic relationships, so they are romantic, but then at the same time, they can't be intimate. The fearful avoidant also has a tendency to keep a list of mistakes of the partner so that they can use it against them or whenever they leave them. They have a list, so they try to memorize it or write it down. They have they has resistance to intimacy, so they have like casual sex a lot, but also at the same time they don't want to commit. They don't want to have intimacy or have a commitment. They are afraid of not being good enough to their partners. They fear rejection a lot too. They get out of relationships when things are not good, when things are not perfect. Right? Thank you. Thank you for the compliment, sweetheart. Thank you, Sandra. All right. So all of these are very strong characteristics of people that have the avoidant attachment style. So, allow the person, be curious with them. Ask them, hey, I see you're feeling strange, like there's something wrong. What are you feeling? Let's look into that together. Could you allow me in? Ask permission. Say, can we talk about this? Can we go there right now? Right? And because an independent person, they need to be asked. They don't like to be pushed. They like to be nudged, maybe. They say they like to be asked for permission because they don't even go to that place. They're not that vulnerable with themselves. Why would they be to you, right? So just respect that and honor that this is the way they learn to cope with their feelings because they are unsafe and they think it's a weakness. So allow them to be vulnerable with you in their own timing. Okay? And please, independent people, if you're an avoidant, remember, tune up with your emotions. Learn to do mindfulness exercises. Learn to pray. Whenever you pray, you find those emotions really, really fast. Also, listen to the story you tell yourself. What are you telling yourself about this? Am I not good enough? Am I afraid? Do I feel lonely? What is it about this that hurts me so much? And focus, because you probably have a theme, like a pattern of thought and feeling the same way. So try to heal that. Go to a therapist. Find help. Okay? So I have to go. Thank you so much for being with me. I really, really appreciate it. Anthony, I cannot bring you on the live or anyone else because I have a session right now with a patient. But I see you guys next week, Thursday. Please share my stuff with people. Please show people so that I can help more people in the world. You have a wonderful day, guys. Bye-bye.